Hello, everyone. Welcome to our lunar temple for October 2018. This month, we are focusing on our throat chakra and what it means for us when it's unbalanced, when it's in balance, and also our connections with the womb and all things feminine. So I'm so glad you could join me in watching this video, and I hope that it blesses you in some way. So as we come today, let's just close our eyes and center ourselves so that we can arrive to receive all of the blessings that we are meant to receive today. Let's just begin by closing our eyes. Get comfortable in your seat. Just allow everything you have brought with you here to be released. Any tension you are holding, allow it to melt away. There is no expectation for you at this moment. Just be present. Exhale all of the air out of your lungs. And take a deep inhale. Hold it and exhale. Take another deep inhale. Hold it and exhale. Take one last deep inhale. Hold, 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 and exhale. Come back to your normal breathing. Feel the lightness in your body. There is nothing to worry about. You are present here. Just be. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. I am ready for what Spirit has to speak through me today for all of you. Thank you for inviting me and inviting this teaching into your life. So we just had the new moon, in Libra. Libra's ruling planet is that of Venus. And earlier this month, Venus went retrograde in the planet of Scorpio, of the planet in the constellation of Scorpio. So what we have here is an even heightened new moon with the retrograde planet, and some things that we can learn or set intentions for in this new moon season. It is all about communication, socialization, your relationships that you have, and the communication that happens in those relationships. With Libra, it is all about balancing the scales and this balance between our outer social life and our inner life, the extrovert and the introvert, finding that balance, what is healthy and good for us. So we are experiencing union in our relationships and in our partnerships. There is a lot of peaceful cohabitation that is possible during this moon cycle. But also it can be a trigger for feelings of loneliness, feelings that you are in desire of deeper relationship or different relationships than what you already have. So become aware of those triggers that you might be feeling during this new moon and graciously learn to love yourself through those, allowing the triggers to come and love yourself through them. So there is this sense of belonging that we're all striving for. We all want to belong somewhere, and we can seek that in unhealthy ways and in healthy ways. So Libra will be the one to show us and reveal to us where we are seeking those relationships and that sense of belonging, whether it is healthy or not healthy for us. So watch and be aware for that in this moon cycle. So this moon cycle really does give us hope, hope for transformation, particularly in our relationships and in our communication. The communication we have with ourselves, because of course our relationship with ourself is the most important relationship that we have. So we always have to focus on getting our relationship right with ourselves before we can extend that grace and love towards a relationship with someone else. So focus here on how are you balanced within yourself, within your relationship with yourself. How is that? How's that relationship doing for you? So, yeah, the thing is that there's also some other planets in play for this moon cycle that actually can bring a bit of a hard road, particularly Pluto. So while we have great potential for transformation and for balance, it's probably not going to be an easy, straightforward road that we are going to travel. We're going to have to travel through some mountains and over some mountains and through some valleys until we're able to finally awaken to that transformation that has happened for us. So this is just an encouragement to not give up. Don't give up on yourself, on your relationship with yourself. Don't give up on relationships with others. At this point, if you hit a bump in the road, let the dust settle. See what comes after. And you might see in the next moon cycle, things could look very differently. So I just, hold you all in that grace and love through this moon cycle as we all travel and navigate the different relationships in our lives. So coming back to the relationship with ourselves, I would just want to do a cycle check-in and ask everybody, where are you at in your cycle today? If you don't know the exact day, you might remember when it was the last time that you bled. You might be able to figure out what season you are in, with menstruation being the interwinter, the days after menstruation up to ovulation being the interspring, the ovulation period, the days before and after ovulation being the inner summer, And then the days after ovulation up until you bleed again, the premenstrual phase known as the inner fall or autumn. So today I am actually day 15. I am in the middle of my inner summer, and a lot of the things I'm noticing within myself, my relationship with myself is a lot easier these days. It's very easy for me to love on myself and congratulate myself for the things I'm doing well. And I am holding on to that in this moment, preparing for the inner autumn when my critic will come out a little more. But just, be with yourself and ask yourself where you are in your cycle and how is it going for you? And where are you in your season? And what does that look like for your relationships? So let's come to our throat chakra. And the energy that we find in our throat chakra also is the ruling energy of our mouth, our nose, and our ears. So the whole lower and our jaw. So the whole lower part of our face and our throat and neck. So one thing I just wanted to do is share a pranayama practice that I really find cleansing, and it helps work on the energy because we're working with our nose and the awareness of our nose, and with the breath as it moves from our nose through our throat down to our lungs and back up again. So this pranayama practice is called Nadi Shodhana, and it's probably my favorite out of all of the breathing practices. So you're going to start, you can hold your hand in two separate ways. You're going to put your thumb out, and either you put your first two fingers on your third eye, or you can keep them in and put your last two fingers out, your ring finger and pinky. So you're going to have your thumb over your right nostril and your ring finger over your left nostril. And then what we're going to do is it's called alternating nostril breathing. So we're going to alternate back and forth between the right and the left side. Now, a great benefit of this is that this is an equalizer of our masculine and feminine energies that run on each side of our bodies. So you also can often tell if one side or the other is blocked, then that means either your masculine or your feminine energy is blocked. So if your right nostril is blocked, that means your masculine energy is blocked. And if your left nostril is blocked, that means your feminine energy is blocked. So we want to find that balance between our masculine and feminine energy, especially during this moon cycle when balance is such a key focus for us. So this is a great practice to do during this moon cycle and for our throat chakra and for balancing our energies. So it's just great all around. So as I said, we have our thumb and we have our right fingers. So we're going to press on our right nostril as we breathe in the left nostril. And then you're going to close off the left nostril as you breathe out the right. And you breathe in the right and close it off, breathing out the left. And you breathe in the left, close it off, breathe out the right. Breathe in the right, Close it off. Breathe out the left. So this is the basic idea. We are going to do this for 9 rounds. And so just follow along with me. I will guide you. It's best if you do this with your eyes closed so that you can focus on the air and be aware of the air moving in your nose, down your lungs, and out your nostrils. Okay. So you can go ahead and close your eyes in your comfortable seated position. And we're going to close off the right nostril, breathing in the left. Close off the left, breathe out the right. In the right. Close it off, out the left. In the left. Close it off, out the right. In the right. Close it off, out the left. In the left. Close it off, out the right. In the right. Close it off, out the left. In the left. Close it off, out the right. In the right. Close it off, out the left. In the left. Close it off, out the right. In the right. Close it off, out the left. In the left. Close it off, out the right. In the right. Close it off, out the left. In the left. Close it off, out the right. In the right. Close it off, out the left. Last one. In the left. Close it off, out the right. In the right. Close it off, out the left. Take one deep inhale through both your nostrils. And exhale. And you can gently breathe your eyes open. See if there's any difference in the air going through your nostrils. See if you can feel a balance between the air in your right and your left nostril. If you're still struggling finding the balance, you can do the practice again until you can find that balance. So let's talk a little bit more about our throat chakra. Our throat chakra. So it also commands our speech and our listening. As I said, it's ruling our ears too. So the way that we speak and the way that we listen. It is also part of our taste, as it is the ruler of our mouth as well. and our self-expression. So however we are able to express ourselves in the world, that energy comes through our throat chakra because it is our voice to ourself, to communicate who we are to others and to the wider world out there. So some things we will see if our throat chakra is off balance. Some of the physical things you would see are problems with your thyroid, whether that's hypo or hyperthyroidism, Hashimoto's disease, anything that has to do with our thyroid glands. Other things are laryngitis, you get sore throats, things that have to do with tonsillitis, with our mouth and our breathing. Certain things, if you get chronic ear infections, are other balance things that are unbalanced with our throat chakra. Also, we have problems with your gums or your teeth. Those are all signs of being in balance. And also problems with your jaw. So if you experience TMJ or certain things that happen with your jaw, it can be that your throat chakra energy is not in balance. So those are some of just the physical symptoms. Also, if you have a problem with your sinuses, especially your lower sinuses here, can be a sign of that. So those are our physical signs that we get with the thyroid. And one of the other things is also that our throat chakra is the energy for some of our dominant hormones in our body. A lot of the hormones that come from our thyroid. And so these things have direct correlation with our cycles and keeping our hormones, all of them in balance, so that the rest of our cyclical hormones can be imbalanced as well, can be balanced as well. Once we have one or the other hormone go off balance, then it kind of throws the whole cycle off. So we want to make sure that we can keep all of our hormones in balance. So some of the other things, if you experience cold sores on your mouth a lot, can be a sign. If you're experiencing fatigue, chronic fatigue, that can be a sign your throat chakra energy is off balance. Or a lack of motivation. If you really struggle getting going, getting things moving, getting your voice out there in the world, that can be a sign of your throat chakra unbalanced. There's also something that has been found that some people like to overindulge in eating or drinking as a symbolic way of stopping their voice from coming out. So if you have struggled currently or in the past with struggling with your eating habits, with your drinking habits, that could be a sign that your throat chakra energy is off balance and that your voice is desiring to come out. And once you're able to share your voice, then that desire to shove it down with those physical things will be released. So some of the dominant feelings that come out whenever your throat chakra is off balance are feelings of anger, feelings of aggression, and feelings of bitterness or resentment. So all of those things, if you are feeling those things, do some work with your throat chakra and it'll help release the anger, the aggression, the resentfulness. And I know that those, I'm just going to speak for myself. I know that those things come up in me a lot. And when I turn inwards towards myself and focus on my throat chakra and doing the work there, then it does subside. So that's something that you can look into. Some other things that you might struggle with if your throat chakra is off balance is you have trouble expressing yourself. You find that you get ideas, but you can't communicate them. You can't put words to your feelings or your ideas. It's very hard to express what you're actually feeling or dealing with in your life to others. And something else would be you might find yourself gossiping or lying. Those are signs that your throat chakra is off balance. Some other things is just if you are really caring what other people think of you, that is a sign of being unbalanced. Or you are projecting things onto other people. You're projecting your own hurts and feelings onto other people because you can't express them yourself. That's a sign that your throat chakra energy is not moving through you. If you have a lack of authority or control, often that comes from our throat chakra energy and through our voice. Whenever we command authority in those places that we do deserve it. So that's something that we have to find the balance with, because we can find ourselves in certain situations that we don't have the authority or the control to be commanding. But there are other situations where we do, and we need to focus on where those are for us to make sure that we're not oppressing anybody, but to make sure that we are able to express for ourselves and to be made known in the world. So other things would be indecisiveness, can't make a decision, or you're feeling a lot of anxiety or worry over things, and doubt and fear. So a lot of those things come from an unbalanced throat chakra. Whenever you're able to do your practices, which I will share these practices with you to bring your throat chakra into balance, because the throat chakra is all about purification. So purification, a lot of those things that I have mentioned so far, there is a purification process to allow them to be released, especially with those emotions, those aggression, the anger, those feelings of self-expression. There is a process to purify them before we release them into the world, because if you release them without purifying them, they are probably going to hurt you and hurt someone else. So these practices for our throat chakra help to purify our feelings and our ideas and our thoughts before we voice them, which is so imperative, especially in this world we are living in, that we need to be careful of how we are using our words and our voice, because we should be using it to lift people up and not to oppress. So some of the purification things we can do to help our throat chakra energy. Let's get the first one out of the way. It is cry. So crying is a great purifier for our emotions. And it often happens when we are holding our emotions, and when we can just let them go, we can just let ourselves cry, you will see how you will see that emotion differently after you cry. So that's one way we can purify. Other ways we can sing, listen to music. That is a great way to help our throat chakra energy to move and to really take in what we want and release what we don't want. And as far as singing, that's a great way to help us start to find our voice and start to feel confident in it. Um, you know, everyone says about singing in the shower, and everybody thinks they sound so great when they sing in the shower. It's because you are in a safe place. You think no one's listening to me. The environment is right with all of the steam allowing your throat to open. It just feels like a very cozy, safe place that you can just let yourself be and let your voice go. And so we're looking for that quality in the rest of our lives so that we can feel vulnerable enough to be able to share and speak and sing our voice when we are with others as well. So that's a great practice to have, practice singing and listening to music. Um, Something else is always great is to drink water, stay hydrated. Water is a great purification. It is done in many different religion practices. It is how we wash ourselves clean. And whenever we are drinking water, it is flowing through us. It is flowing through the energy of our throat. And so we are able to allow that to cleanse ourselves and to cleanse our throat chakra. Other ways are to write and journal. If you struggle speaking and putting words to thoughts, it's a great thing to try and journal them out first. You might be able to find your voice first through journaling before you can through a different avenue. And a great way to practice journaling is the stream of consciousness journaling. So just put your pen on the paper and start writing, and do not lift your pen up. Just allow the thoughts to run. And then when it feels like it's right, stop and look back and see what you wrote. So it's a great practice to really get things flowing and to get things out. Another great thing is to get a shoulder and head massage. For anybody that's ever been to Thailand, that is one of the amazing things about Thailand. There is a massage parlor on every corner, and it's only a few dollars to get a head and shoulder massage, and it is a beautiful thing. So if you have the ability to do that, great, go to Thailand and get lots of massages. If you don't, I'm sure there's massage parlors where you live somewhere near, or just grab a friend, grab your partner, whoever it may be, and ask them to just, give a little massage on your shoulder, your neck, your head, and see how you feel after that. Another thing can be to get off of your technology. So a lot of our throat chakra energy is being blocked by technology these days. We often find that, how your voice just never comes across clear enough on things like text messaging, social media, whatever it is. It's very hard to get the pure intention about what you wanted to share through technology. So it's it's something that we can do to help balance that energy, is to come off of our devices and spend time with real people in real life. The more conversations and communication that we have with real people, the more our throat chakra will purify that energy that we have and not get blocked through our devices. So some of the other things, if you are practicing yoga, if you know different yoga poses, if you don't, you can look them up. Some of the best ones for our throat chakra are the plow pose, and the shoulder stand, and the fish pose. Also, bridge pose. So those poses were either where extending our throat or flexing our throat. So allowing the movement to massage and energize the throat and the neck. If you use essential oils to support yourself, some essential oils that support your throat chakra are rosemary, lime, champa, cedarwood, and sage. If you have some sage, it's also a good thing for your throat chakra. And if you do have sage, you want to try and find somebody that is naturally harvesting it and not using it from indigenous people's lands and not supporting them in the process. So we want to be very aware of some of these practices that we're doing, that we are doing it to help uplift the cultures that we have learned it from. That goes as well with the yoga as well. We want to make sure that we are honoring the practice of yoga and not using it for our own selfish desires. So that's my little side note. I will give you some of the crystals, which also we want to be aware of what crystals are being naturally harvested. So you look into the background of the places where you buy this stuff. But some of the crystals that are best for the throat chakra are turquoise. You can see I have my turquoise earrings today. I have some of my other crystals here I will show you. Blue lace. You have blue lace. You can use that one. And I have my aquamarine here, which is also good. And my sodalite. So really any of the blue crystals, also sapphire is good. Blue agate is good. So all blue colors. Also wearing blue can really help your throat chakra. As far as nutrition goes, it's also the blue foods. So blueberries, blackberries, purple grapes, dragon fruit. And then the others are barley, wheatgrass, and mushrooms. So if you want to really amp up that energy for your throat chakra, you can do those things. So some of those practices, if you're able to do them and you find the purification from them, something to notice whenever your throat chakra is in balance would be you're able to speak your truth. You have an idea, you have a feeling, and you are able to find the words to express that. And you're able to tap into your divine self, and you're able to speak that into existence. And really just claim that authority and control that you are divine. That is a sign that your throat chakra is balanced. Whenever you can claim that and you can say that. So another thing is, if you find it really easy to do writing or poetry, if you're able to allow that expression to flow onto paper very easily, then that's a good sign. You are balanced. Just other ways you're able to express yourself and not worry about what others think. So you're able to wear whatever clothes you want to and not care what other people think. You're allowed to let your body hair hang out and not really care what other people think. And you do things just because they are you and you are expressing yourself. You're not thinking about, what will this person think, or what will this person say? No, when your throat chakra energy is balanced, you are able to just present yourself to the world how you are. And that is a beautiful thing, especially if we are tapped into our divine self, and then that divine self we can share with others. That is something that will change the world. That is something that people are attracted to and want to be a part of. That is inviting others to also find that energy where they can share themselves. So yeah, it's a ripple effect. When we are able to share ourselves fully, imperfectly as we are, but fully showing up to who we are, then other people will see and be vulnerable and come and do the same. And then that will be a beautiful thing when we see that ripple out. Yeah, another thing is being a really good active listener. So, really, really listening deeply to what others are saying, and not only the words they are saying, but hearing what is behind it. And that is a skill that can be learned and is very helpful whenever our throat chakra is balanced. It becomes a lot easier to understand what somebody is feeling or the intention behind the words they are saying. That's also a beautiful thing where we can learn to then empathize with other people that may have differing views from us. Because you may hear the words and you disagree completely, but you'll start listening behind the words and realize that, hey, there is actually something in this person that is the same that is in me. So that's something, whenever we become a really good active listener, we can start to notice that you and I are one. We are all one. And the other thing is, you are also able to start speaking up about injustices that are happening in the world. So people with imbalanced throat chakras, you usually either go to the two extremes. The extreme of sitting back, not saying anything, being too scared to say something that might be controversial, or that you might, that somebody else will think wrongly of you. So you just sit back, keep your mouth shut, and you don't say anything. The other extreme is going on hateful, raging bashes, like Nazis and the KKK. That would be the other extreme, where you are really taking this overbalance, not overbalance, but this throat chakra energy is becoming way too much. And wherever you think that you have all the authority and all of the control, and you really use that to oppress and demonize others. And so what we want to do when we can find the balance, that seems to be the theme this month, find the balance in between the two, where we are able to speak up against the injustices, against the oppression that is happening, against the racism. And really, we're able to see our own problem in it, where we are a part of it. We are able to recognize that. We are able to express that through our self-expression. And then also we're able to act on it. And we're able to act on it in a way of graciously loving the other people and not attacking them. So that, if you are able to do that, that's pretty good bet that your throat chakra energy is balanced. And if that's what you are striving for, keep doing the practices that I mentioned, and hope slowly you will arrive in that place. So that's really, what we're looking for whenever we have a throat chakra that is balanced, and something that we could really, really use more in the world today. So, I say that we all just commit to doing some of these practices, particularly throughout this moon cycle, and let's see what happens within ourselves and how we are able to speak up in places of injustice. All right, so one of the other things we can do is, it might seem counterintuitive, but it's to be silent. So whenever we are silent, we are opening ourselves up to listening. Whenever we are able to get silent, those are the times we are able to hear the divine presence speaking from within us. I know for me personally, some of the most profound insights I have had are through going deeply into days of silence, going on silent retreats. And the messages that I hear through silence are something I do not hear often whenever I am muffling up the silence with my speech and my thinking. And so that is really something that you can do to open yourself up to the divine presence and a purification of that throat chakra energy whenever you are in the space of speaking too much. Let's all just try a little more silence. So with that, I say we go into a little guided meditation. There will be silence throughout the guided meditation. I will just lead you in some images and just listen. Listen for the divine presence and what she is wanting to say to you today. So find yourself in a comfortable position. Comfortable. Let's shake your shoulders a little bit. We'll loosen up. Shake your neck a little bit. Roll your head. Allow yourself to loosen up. And then come to a comfortable position. Let the shoulders to drop, the neck to be relaxed. Go ahead and close your eyes. Begin to notice how your breath feels going in your nostrils and exhaling out your nostrils. Feel how it's cool when you inhale, and how it's warm when you exhale. Just let yourself be. And I want you to imagine yourself in a pool of water. You're standing in the pool. You feel the cold, refreshing water around your body. It's effortless just to be here. You look around you and you see a waterfall in the distance. So you begin to swim towards this waterfall. It's a gentle, flowing waterfall. The closer you get, you can feel the waves rippling off the waterfall. You come to the edge of the waterfall and you can feel the spray on your face. You can see the rainbow reflecting off the waterfall. And you step underneath it. You are directly under the waterfall, feeling it flow over your head, down your face, down your neck, down your body, and into the pool. It feels so refreshing, so gentle. This water is clean and sparkling, and it is clean enough to drink. So you open your mouth, drink in the refreshing water. Feel this water flow down your throat. Let it fill your throat and it goes down to your stomach. It feels so nourishing, so beautiful. It's like the taste of the rainbow. Drink it in. Then you step behind the waterfall. And you watch it in front of you. Behind the waterfall, there is a stillness and a silence. You can still hear and see the rushing of the waterfall in front of you, but you have found your inner stillness. What does that feel like? What do you notice? What can you hear? Not only with your ears, but your whole body. What do you hear the divine presence speaking to you? You are being called to be more of yourself, to find that deeper well of water within and allow it to bubble up and out of you. As you get ready to emerge from behind the waterfall, fill up with this silence, with this stillness, with this divine presence. And walk forward and emerge back under the waterfall and through, feeling fully still and fully energized to be yourself and to share yourself with the world. Knowing that at any time you can come back to the stillness. You can come back to drinking of the water. Take a deep inhale and exhale. When you are ready, breathe your eyes open. Oh, feeling that water energy flow through. That's powerful. Coming to the end of our teaching, I wanted to focus on the connection between our throat chakra and our womb. So, I wanted to share a picture with you all, which will help visually, I hope, to understand this connection. So I am going to share my screen here. So let's look at, here is a picture of our throat. Okay, if you can see the picture. Okay, here we go. So here is a picture of our throat, our mouth, tongue, see the throat down into the lungs. And the middle here being our vocal cords. Here is a picture of our vocal cords opened and closed. So you can see here that there is a resemblance of some of the anatomy of our womb space. So let's just look at this. You see we have two lungs and then the vocal cords and coming out the mouth. All right, so then let's have a little look at the all right, let me see here. All right, now I'm going to share with you a picture of the womb space, which I'm sure most of you know what this looks like. Not direct anatomy, but it's close for our purposes here. As we can see, we have two ovaries that both come into the uterus. And right here, we find our cervix, which is in between the uterus and the vagina canal. So the cervix here is very similar to where our vocal cords are. And the cervix also opens and closes depending on where we are in our cycle, and especially during pregnancy. So now with those two images in our mind, I find this very fascinating, this connection between particularly our vocal cords and our cervix. And there have been studies done that have shown that whenever we are able to open our voice, we are able to open our throats, allow that throat chakra energy to flow, then our cervix is actually able to open. And in particular, with pregnancy. So if you, are needing your cervix to be dilated whenever you are coming down to the end of your pregnancy and ready to give birth, really using your voice, using those practices for the throat chakra will help aid that process in opening your womb, opening the cervix, and allowing the baby to be birthed from that. So there's a connection there between your own self-birthing through the voice and the birthing of a child. And also, we can think of it in the opposite way. There have been some women that have noted doing things like yoni steaming, which is, if you're not familiar, it's basically sitting on top of a pot of water that has been boiled, usually with some herbs, and it allows the cervix to open and soften. And it's a purification for any old blood that is in your uterus from previous cycles. And it's really my own personal practice. I have found that that's true, and it's a really powerful practice. And also, the fact that the yoni steaming is opening up your cervix can also connect to allowing your throat chakra to open, for your vocal cords to open. There is a connection. So if you practice yoni steaming, you might be able to find that your self-expression in your voice becomes more open and powerful, and you're able to express yourself. So there is this connection that we have that might not seem so apparent, but it is so powerful. So if you're interested in particular, yoni steaming, which is one of my practices, you can let me know. One of the main things, if you want to do yoni steaming, is you want to do it 2 or 3 times the week before your period. Don't yoni steam while you're menstruating. And I wouldn't do it during my inner spring or summer. Just do it in the inner fall, the inner autumn, 2 or 3 times that week. And I'll be interested to hear how your periods change, how your cycle changes because of that, and also how your voice changes because of that. And there's particular herbs you can use, which if you're interested in that, you can get a hold of me, either write a comment on this video, or you can send an email to me, Meghna, Meghna, at divineflow.co. I love talking yoni steam, so if you have any questions about that, get in contact with me there. So yeah, one thing that I just wanted to end on is the sharing of period stories. So everything that has to do with our menstrual cycle, with our femininity, with our periods, all of these things have been made taboo in our societies. And because they are taboo, people have begun to see them as shameful, and being ashamed of our bodies, being ashamed of the cycles that we experience. And I don't believe those things will change until we can use our voice to express. Because once you're able to voice and express those feelings and those stories that you have around being in your feminine power, around your cycle, around having a period, then those things will change. They will shift. The energy will shift. The collective energy will shift just because you're sharing a story. That is powerful throat chakra energy. So I encourage you, if you have a journal, if you have a pen, I encourage you to write down a period story that you have. It could be a sad story. It could be a time when you felt really embarrassed, really shameful. It could be a funny story, something that was you just never imagined would ever happen to you, and you were able to laugh about it. All of these stories matter. They're painful stories and your joyful stories. All of them matter. So I encourage you to just grab a journal and be able to center, focus, and find one of those period stories that is deep within you, that you can allow to be expressed. And what I'm going to challenge you to do, once you find that story, I challenge you to share it. Find a person to share it with. Find a group of people to share it with. Find a woman's circle to share it with. Share it on your social media. Put it on your Facebook page. Put it on your Instagram. Whatever it is, I challenge you, wherever you feel safe, to share that at. I challenge you to share it because it is through sharing these stories that the shame will be released, that the taboos will be broken. When I was thinking about this, I was thinking about what period story will I share? And this is the one that came to my mind, and I have a lot more of these, but this is sort of a lighthearted, but it was a bit embarrassing. It could have been way worse. But I choose to share this with you now, with however many people are going to watch this, so that we can start breaking down some of those feelings of shame and taboo. So I was traveling from Kolkata to London, and I had a layover in an airport in Saudi Arabia. So, and as you know, Saudi Arabia is very conservative, and for a woman, it can be very hard to even express being a woman there, being in a female body, as the female body is not highly held in this country. So I'm on a layover and I am on my period. When I'm flying, I usually wear a menstrual cup. So I'm in the airport and I need to change my menstrual cup because I'd worn it the whole flight from Kolkata to Saudi Arabia. So I'm in the airport and I go to the bathroom stall. And usually when I'm in the bathroom, especially we don't have very many of these in the States, but especially in Asia we do, in the Middle East they do, the sprayers that come alongside the toilet. And I usually love those to clean my menstrual cup because it's very clean and easy. I don't have to, use toilet paper to clean it up. I don't have to really get any blood on my hands. I can just spray it off with one of the sprayers. So I went in the bathroom and I saw the sprayer and I was excited that I would have a relatively clean change of my menstrual cup. So I removed my menstrual cup and I grabbed the sprayer. And as soon as I pushed the button for the sprayer, the water pressure was the most I have ever seen water pressure probably in my life. And so as soon as the water pressure hit my cup, all of the blood that was in my cup went splattering everywhere. It went all over the back of the door of the stall. It went all over the floor. It went under the door outside on the floor. It went under the the stall beside me. Like, if anybody would have been inside that stall, they would have thought a murder happened. There was blood splattered everywhere. Luckily, none of it got on me. Like, that is like such a grace. None of the blood splattered on me. It all splattered out from me like that. But I was feeling so embarrassed at that moment. And I was just wondering, is there anybody outside the stall? Is there anybody outside that just saw blood splatter all over the floor? So I hurried up and I grabbed toilet paper and I was like wiping everything down, grabbing reaching for all of the blood that was on the floor on the other stall in front of me in the hallway, cleaning up the back of the door, everything, wiping everything down. When I got everything cleaned up and went to leave, there was nobody outside. Nobody had seen it. Nobody else was even in the bathroom. I was the only one there. And I just thought to myself, why? Why should that be embarrassing? Why should I be embarrassed that my blood got on the floor? Like, and it's a tile floor. It can be cleaned up very easily. So that's just something, until we can get to that place where it's normal to have accidents. If I would have cut my leg and there was blood on the floor, I would be screaming for somebody to come in and help me clean it up, because that is not taboo. Blood from your leg, the blood from your womb is taboo. So I am sharing this story with you, telling you actually how I felt embarrassed, but how that helped me learn something new about how I thought about my period. That was actually probably about, oh gosh, I don't remember when that was. 4 years ago, maybe 4 or 3 years ago. And I've come a long way since that. And I have continually shared this story with others. And the more I share it, the easier it gets. So I encourage you and challenge you to go ahead and share your stories. And let's start breaking down those taboos and those embarrassing moments together. And then hopefully, the next generation of women and girls will be able to freely share and get blood splattered on the floor and not feel embarrassed. So I thank you all for tuning in, for listening to how we as a collective can heal our voices, how we can show up for one another, how we can deeply listen to one another, communicate with one another. And I just pray blessings over all of our relationships and communications, especially this moon cycle as it is in the forefront of our energy. And I just thank you again. I feel so blessed that you're all here. So again, if you want to contact me, you can either leave a comment below this video, or you can email me, Meghna, MEGHNA, at divineflow, FLOW.co. So if you email me there, if you have any questions, anything, you can also find me on Instagram at divineflow.co. And I talk about all things cyclical there as well. And if you're interested in setting up a one-on-one meeting, I work individually with women to help them with certain struggles they have in their cycle. And I will give you personalized meditations and practices that will help you come back into relationship with your own cycle and to empower your feminine power to come up and be expressed. So I wish you all a blessed moon cycle, and hopefully I will see you again at our next lunar temple in November. So thank you and be blessed.